If you could go back to the future, like 10 years ago, and you could give yourself one piece of advice, what's that one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
Stay out of debt. Stay out of debt. Don't.
When you say that, what kind of debt do you mean specifically?
Mostly consumer debt, using your credit cards.
Okay.
That's just, you just become a slave to the financial industries. Those credit cards were designed, to keep you in debt. Your FICO score is designed to keep you in debt, right? Mm-hmm. You're in debt. How well do you pay it off so we can give you more debt?
And you're pretty much financially right now, but guys, this is all consumer, well, except for the little medical debt. So taking away the medical debt, this is all consumer bull crap debt, and we're at $120,000. $120,000 of consumer death bull. High interest rate for the most part, death. This is the worst I have ever seen in terms of consumer debt. I would be honestly relatively ashamed of that number, to be very clear. That is a road that no one should ever go down, and this is something you guys need to turn around ASAP, or the future is not a future. So let me tell you how the future looks. This is how it looks if we do not change things around drastically. And this is going to be brutal, but it's reality, and you need to know. In this situation, we continue down this endless debt. We refinance after we pay something off. We get into bad car debt. We make minimum monthly payments our livelihood, and we start to fall behind because the car market fluctuates here and there. The economy fluctuates here and there. We continue down this path. We don't ever get to a place where we have a good retirement, because by 32, we have $17,000, and that's all to our name. We go down that path forever, and then by the time you are ready to retire, or by the time you are no longer able to work, you have nothing saved up, and the child over there is forced to take care of each of you. After this talk, anything you go into after this is actively choosing to be an irresponsible parent and have your kid take care of you when you retire. Do we understand that?
Absolutely.
Yes. Like us becoming more like financially educated, we can obviously pass the education on to her, throughout her life, and not pass down these bad spending habits that we clearly have.
I put myself into debt, $45,000 worth of debt, not including my car note. With my car note, it's $55,000. No one forced me. No one tricked me. I did that to myself. For a long time, I really just wanted to blame this situation on everybody else except for myself. I would say things like, I had to spend money because of this, or I had to spend money because of that. But I just never knew how to handle my money. And that's just the facts. And I made really bad choices, plain and simple. Now I'm the one paying for those choices, literally. And instead of running from it, because I've been running away from it for almost a year and a half now, I'm facing it. No more excuses.
Consumer debt is just another way that the system keeps us under control. Think about it. The more debt you have, the more monthly bills that you have to pay, the less likely you are to quit a job you hate or to work less in order to pursue things that actually add value to your life. So this is why my wife and I are now officially down to one vehicle. We went and sold one of our cars to the dealership today. Took a little bit of a hit on it, but in the long run, it's going to save us a tremendous amount of money. And with that $500 a month, that's less I have to worry about working, less my wife has to worry about working, and the more that we can spend our time and money on creating experiences and memories, because at the end of the day, that's what truly matters to us. So if you're out there and you're trading your time for money and you hate it, there are ways to reduce your financial liability in order to have that time back. So don't be a slave to the system. Don't live in debt. If you possibly can, get rid of that.
Daily finance check-in, you know the drill. Debt remains the same, $41,905.14. And my checking account is now at $425 because I spent $25 on gas, a necessity. And yeah, I have some bills due in 2 days. I need about $3,000. So I have no idea what the plan is. I am in the most amount of risk I have ever been in my entire life. And I just keep surrendering this to God. And this is the most discomfort I've ever felt around my finances, and I'm just trying to lean into this and view this challenge as an opportunity to grow. I just know that there's a future version of me that looks back on this time period, this month specifically, and is like, holy crap, like you broke through so much this month. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Still working on coming up with the money to file the bankruptcy. I gathered all the documents yesterday. Besides, I need 2 years of tax returns. I'm waiting on my mom to provide because my mom does my taxes, and she was busy yesterday. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, I feel like the next couple of days are going to be very intense surrender, and I don't know what's going to come up. I don't have any backup plans, and I just trust. I trust so deeply that God is here providing for me. God is here to protect me. I think that God is the ultimate procrastinator. And yeah, so what I'm doing today is sitting down, opening up my bank account, logging in, looking at the numbers, getting myself very comfortable with looking at my account, making this a part of my routine. It's just like implementing any other habit. You know, if you want to start working out every day, you got to do it consistently for it to feel like a part of your normal routine. So that's what I'm doing with my finance day, even when there's not really much movement. I'm not really spending much right now, so a lot of times I'm just sitting down and looking at the same numbers every single day, but it's just creating consistency so that this becomes a part of my new normal. And I then go on to this app that I'm using, and if there's anything that I've spent, I rate my feelings around it, and I really like that aspect of it because it really is tying in the component of the emotions behind money. And yeah, getting this done, and then I'm going to get myself ready, finish getting ready. I have a podcast interview at 11 a.m. I'm going to be interviewing the founder of the app that I'm using, and we're going to be talking about all things creating change when it comes to your finances, the emotions behind money. You know the drill. So, daily finance check-in, here with you, and I love you so much. See you tomorrow.
This is how I went from 24K to 3K in 8 months. Budgeting my money. I'm not perfect. Budgeting my paycheck as soon as it hits my bank account is so important. You can't spend money you don't have, and do not rely on credit cards. Before I started paying debt, I saved $1,000 in an emergency fund. Consume content that keeps you on track. If you've never seen the overconsumption documentary Buy Now on Netflix, please go watch it and you will second guess your TJ Maxx purchases. I follow Dave Ramsey, and I recently started following Alex on a budget for all of her financial content. Surround yourself by the community that's doing the same things and has the same goal. Eat out less and cook at home. I love finding TikToks that are like cheap, easy meal prep meals. It saves time and it saves money. The biggest one, get a side hustle. I did pizza delivery for 5 months on top of my full-time job and threw every single dollar in my car debt. It's not forever, just a step forward to freedom. Lastly, it's discipline and have an accountability buddy. Have someone to tell you you do not need that purse. Do not keep buying on Amazon every single day, because that was me. You're still thinking about it in about a week or two. Maybe it's necessary. If it's not and you forget about it, it's probably not that important. I'm gonna stop there because there is so much on the internet and none of it matters unless you take action.
I am bringing you guys proof that it does sometimes pay off to contact your credit card companies and talk to them about your situation and possibly helping you with either a payment assistance program or anything that they are willing to do. I called our Discover the other day and I asked them, is there anything that you're willing to do to help me with the balance that is due on our credit card? They did some things, and this is what they came up with. They refunded over $635. You can see it right here, $635.32 to be exact. That is 3 months worth of interest that they refunded back to our card, which brought our balance now down to $9,005.24. Guys, if you were never going to know unless you try. You have to be willing to give it a try, and 9 times out of 10, they are going to work with you.
So tariffs have officially gone into effect. Not only did we put our own tariffs into effect, but other countries have placed tariffs on us. It's a lose-lose game, and consumers are the biggest loser, people like you and me. Because of this, I'm rethinking of how to pay off my debt, and also how to save more money. And maybe this might turn into a multi-video explanation, but here is a couple thoughts that I am having about actions I'm going to take. Number one is that I'm going to pay off my debt more slowly now. My debt has gone up recently, which is not the greatest thing. So I am still going to focus on the highest interest rate debt, then the lowest. I am boosting up my savings rate. Right now, I don't have much of an emergency fund, and I really don't want to pull out of my investments that are losing value by the minute that we're talking. My goal is to have about 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that right now, but we're gonna try. I have already made good progress with canceling a bunch of subscriptions, even though I got hit with one the other day that I forgot about. Thank you, ADHD brain. But the goal is to wind down those subscriptions. My Spotify I am keeping because I do find a lot of value out of it. I am also going to be starting a series of peasant meal cooking. This is a type of way I've been cooking since I was a child. It's something that has brought me a lot of comfort and joy, and also being able to cook healthy has helped my mental and physical well-being. And these meals don't have to be bad for you. They just have to be strategic. I'm also taking up gardening. I started a small little box last year in my backyard, but now it's time to get really serious about it. Yesterday I purchased a whole bunch of seeds, and if you're interested, leave a comment down below and I will show you my entire process of building out this garden. I am also trying to eliminate my lawn slowly, because on average I pay about $60 a week during the summertime for a guy to come and mow my lawn, and I just can't afford that anymore. As much as I love the man and his family who comes and mows my lawn, I just simply cannot afford that. I'm also going to be really strategic with getting healthy and getting in shape. I am a binge eater. I do spend money a lot on food when I am in that moment of emotional eating. It was part of my ADHD diagnosis. I'm going to try to control as much as I can within my own space, my own body, my own mind and environment. But it's going to be really hard. And I understand that things are just going to get worse.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Said from Said's Dividends, where we talk about all things personal finance, investing, and building long-term wealth, and also building a dividend portfolio to help you retire early or semi-retire or whatever you want to do with your life. Today's topic is one that silently wrecks more financial futures than almost anything else: consumer debt. I've been there. I've had plenty of debt in my life. One day I got so sick of it, I made a decision. I took responsibility, and there was no excuses after that. It might seem normal for most people, even necessary, but left unchecked, your consumer debt will rob you of your income, your peace of mind, and your ability to build wealth. So let's break down how consumer debt hurts your finances, and more importantly, how you can start eliminating it so you can get back into growing real assets and creating that passive income with a vehicle like a dividend portfolio. So consumer debt is typically high interest debt from things like credit cards, as you see in the video, personal loans, buy now, pay later plans, and even store financing. You know, those store cars, the Macy's cars, the Sears cars, and all those type, Target, etc. And here's the problem: it doesn't buy you income producing assets. It buys stuff that loses value the second you leave the store. Meanwhile, interest compounds against you. So let's say, for instance, there's a $1,000 balance on a credit card that you have, and it has a 24% APR. If you only paid a minimum on that, it could take you years to pay off, and you might end up paying double the original amount in interest alone. So the more money goes into paying off past purchases, the less you have to invest in your future, building that portfolio or whatever you want to, whatever asset that you're trying to gain. It's going to take you forever to even get to that point if you have this debt in your way. So you're effectively working to enrich the lenders and not yourself. So how can you eliminate this debt and turn your finances around? 3 solid strategies that can help you get out of debt and stay out of debt so you can finally start building wealth with intention. So the first one made famous by Dave Ramsey, the debt snowball method. So basically list your debts from smallest to largest, regardless of interest rate. Pay minimums on all of them, but attack the smallest one with everything you got. I mean, everything. So just pay the minimum on the other higher interest rates just to keep them current so you don't get late fees and things like that. Everything else you're going over to knock out that smallest payment or that smallest debt. Once that's paid off, roll that payment, whatever that payment was, roll that payment into the next debt and attack that, and then so on. This works well because you get quick wins, and that's the method that I used when I was getting out of debt. Those small psychological victories helped me stay motivated, and it will help you as well. And once you paid off your first few balances, you start to feel in control of your finances again. You start crossing certain debts off the list. And there were times where I went out of bounds when it came to this rule. I sometimes attacked the ones that pissed me off the most. Now, it might not have necessarily been the smallest amount. So whatever floats your boat. All you need to do is pick one and attack it. The second method is the debt avalanche method. And with this method, you focus on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first. So this saves you the most money in the long run because it's less interest being tacked on your debt, right? So it requires a bit more discipline since your biggest balance might take longer to knock out. But every extra dollar saved, you put on that debt. And every extra dollar saved in interest is a dollar you can invest, whether it's in these dividend stocks, ETFs, or building an emergency fund, or whatever. So the avalanche method helps you get to the point where you can actually start growing money instead of losing it to interest payments. And the last method, this one is less talked about, but it's often the most powerful. So if your debt feels overwhelming, the fastest way to change your situation is by increasing your income. This is my favorite. Take on a side hustle, work freelance jobs, sell unused items, or negotiate a raise. Every dollar can go towards debt reduction. You got a weekend, so instead of relaxing on the weekend, maybe drive Uber or Lyft or something. At the same time, while you're trying to increase your income, you're cutting expenses at the same time. So you're not just doing one or the other, you're doing both simultaneously. So you're canceling unused subscriptions, you're reducing the amount of times you eat out, you're cooking at home more, that way there's leftovers, you can meal prep. You're also pausing large non-essential purchases. Even saving $200, $300 a month can make a big difference, even if it was $50 a month. The key though is once you eliminate that debt, redirect that same money into wealth building. Wealth building, huh? Like what, said? Buy income generating investments like dividend paying stocks. The more stocks you buy that pay dividends, the more income that you increase. The more income that you have through dividend paying stocks, the more that it can support your lifestyle. So instead of paying that car note by trading your time for money, you built up a dividend portfolio that will pay your car note. That way your dividends are doing the heavy lifting and it's paying for your car. This is how you turn the money you were using to pay off the past into the money that builds your future. So in conclusion, debt doesn't have to define your financial story. By being intentional, staying disciplined, and making smart decisions, you can go from surviving to thriving. Trust me, like I said, I was there. I remember I was sitting in my car. It was dark, it was late. I had a long drive home from work, and I had my car note that I needed to pay. And it was just ridiculous. I just said, I'm better than this. So I took some drastic measures. I mean, I sold my car. I bought a $5,000 car. It was my favorite car because it was paid off. It wasn't financed. It was dented on the side. One of the windows didn't work. There was a couple lights on the dash, but like I said, it was my favorite car at the time. And that started the cycle of me turning my finances around. The goal isn't to be just debt free, it's to be financially free. And that starts when you stop giving interest to lenders and start earning it as an investor. Don't forget to like this video. Thank you for stopping by. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a post. from me, Sayed, with Sayed's Dividends. And let's get out of debt and into ownership. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.